Hey, it's Eric again. Have you ever noticed that so many of us have this tendency where it's this all or nothing mentality? Meaning either we are absolutely totally perfect or we're terrible. We either everything is going great for us or everything sucks. We see this in a lot of different things. We see this in parenting. Um, a lot of times we parents are really, really quick to jump at our kids. Maybe you aren't. Maybe it's just me. Um, Sometimes I have this tendency of thinking either my kids are great and they're doing everything right, or the tiniest little thing will trigger me and it'll set me off, and I'll kind of go after my kids. We see this a lot with weight loss, of course. A lot of people have this all or nothing mentality where if they deviate from their plan, even the slightest little amount, then everything is terrible. Everything is shot. And so why bother trying, right? Maybe they'll have the littlest of treats. Maybe they'll have something like this little tiny piece of chocolate, something like this, where they weren't supposed to have that chocolate that day. And so because they weren't perfect, it's like, oh, why bother? And so, well, I had the one piece of chocolate, and so I'm good. Let me do that. All this chocolate all at once, and then let me give me some cheesecake. Give me some chips, and again, it's this all or nothing mentality. It kind of reminds me of, for a lot of years, I would sabotage my birthday. I had these really weird limiting beliefs regarding my birthday, and if anything was the slightest bit imperfect of how I thought my birthday had to be, it all sucked, and everything would just go out the window. And it's really, really damaging when we have this all or nothing mentality, this crazy extreme perfectionism mentality. It's like a light switch. Either it's on or it's off. Either it's perfect or it's terrible. Either it's good or it's bad. And we can't go through life that way. That especially doesn't work when it comes to permanent transformation. It doesn't work with weight reduction. It doesn't work in business. It doesn't work with raising children. I once heard this analogy that has to do with rock climbers. Rock climbers, like really seasoned, really awesome professional, like mountain rock climbers, will a lot of times go by themselves and they'll scale the side of these cliffs by themselves. But what they'll do as they ascend the side of these mountains is they will there's a term for it, and I can't remember what it is, but they will insert these things into the side of the mountain where if they happen to lose their grip and they fall, they only fall just a little bit, just back to where they were, instead of either reaching the top of the mountain or falling to their death as the only two options. And so again, every few feet that they ascend the side of this mountain, they insert a rod. I wish I could remember the name of it, but they insert these things into the side of the mountain. Again, that way, if they fall, they only fall a little bit. What would happen if instead of having this all or nothing mentality, if mentally, emotionally, physically, you allowed yourself to have kind of, instead of a light switch, if you allowed yourself to have kind of a dimmer switch, and you put these emotional protections in place so that if something happens, if you do end up having that little piece of chocolate that you weren't supposed to have, instead of totally falling off the bandwagon, falling off the cliff, if you will, you only fell just a little bit. And then you were able to climb back up to where you needed to be, and you kept going. Instead of having this light switch on or off, you installed a dimmer switch. And the way you do that is giving yourself full permission to fail. When you have full permission to fail, when failure happens, and of course, failure is part of success. I don't know of anybody that has ever been 100% successful and never ever experienced any type of failure. Now, failure and defeat are two different things. Defeat happens when you totally give up. Failure is not defeat. Failure is just falling that little bit. Failure is then getting back up. I once heard that the biggest difference between those that are successful and those that aren't successful is those that are successful have failed more times than the number of times that the unsuccessful people have even tried. And consider that for a moment. Consider that with your weight reduction. Consider that with the other areas of your life, with your parenting, What would happen if you gave yourself permission to fail? Meaning, when those days happen. Now, obviously that doesn't mean totally take it to the other end of the extreme, right? Oh, I have permission to fail. Okay, that means, oh, this is all good. Right? You don't want to take it to the other end of the extreme by any means. It just means that when things fail, you get yourself back up and you say, okay, I've only fallen just a little bit. My light has dimmed just a tiny bit. It's not totally off. I'm not totally bad. And so I don't have to completely fall off the cliff. I can just get back up to where I once was. What kind of difference would that make for you? If you gave yourself full permission to fail from time to time, would that release the shame? Would that release the excess stress? And so it's interesting because this has been a topic that has come up with a lot of my clients just even over the last week. And so my invitation to you, as interesting as this is to give yourself full permission to fail. I hereby dub thee. I know I'm hitting my own shoulders, but imagine I'm dubbing your shoulders. You have full permission to fail if necessary. And one of my mentors recently gave an acronym of CRR, which stands for Confess, Reassess, and Recommit. And so if things happen, it doesn't mean that you have to totally give up. It doesn't mean that you have to totally fall off the cliff, fall off the wagon. You simply confess that you had a negative experience, that you failed. You reassess the situation. Maybe you make smaller promises to yourself. Maybe you readjust your nutrition. Maybe you readjust your exercise plan, whatever it is, and then you recommit to doing what it is that you need to do. And so again, we don't need to have this all or nothing mentality, this light switch mentality. Insert that dimmer switch inside your mind. Allow yourself to fall just a little bit and then get back up, and allow yourself to keep climbing upwards and onwards. Hope this is helpful. If you haven't joined our Facebook group, our Enjoy Yourself Then Facebook group, make sure to do so. Totally free. Lots of amazing content, lots of amazing support for you in your weight goals, in your fitness goals, and other goals of your life. And so make sure to join. If you're seeing this on YouTube, make sure to subscribe and make sure to install your mental dimmer switch. Love you.